Hi everyone, welcome back to my Flosstube. My name is Rachel and this is Lemonade Stitching. I'm so happy to be filming another update for you guys today. It is September 1st. It is Labor Day weekend. I don't have to go to work tomorrow. It's fantastic. I hope everyone had a great summer vacation, great last month of summer before going back to school. I was not super excited to go back to school, but now that classes are started, I'm trying to get excited, be in a good mood about it. I like to learn, but I don't like to have to do my homework, so whatever. Yeah, I've gone back to school. Last week was the first week of classes, and I just have one class at a time this semester, so I'll take one the first half, one the second half, so nothing too horrible. And I've started a new job since I last talked to you guys, and then also still working on my internship that I think I mentioned last time. So I've definitely been keeping busy. I'm not sure how much stitching will get done in September because, you know, adult things, but I have lots of stitching to share from August. So without further ado, I'm just gonna kind of jump right in. Since I talked to you, well, no, not since I talked to you guys last, but just in the month of August, as a recap, I've been tracking my stitches in Notion, and I actually got almost 10,000 stitches last month, which is super exciting. That was really cool to be able to see, and I worked on 9 different projects throughout August. There are a couple of days of July that I'm going to kind of summarize in this video as well, since my last video was like just at the end of the month, but for the most part, this is going to be an August recap. So the main thing I did and what I kind of jumped into after talking to you guys last was hashtag Stitchthesummerolympics. That was a stitching challenge, I guess, kind of hosted by the Naptime Stitcher, and I made a little graphic for myself of kind of planning out what projects I wanted to work on when, and I mostly stuck to it. I have that posted on my Instagram as well as like all the days that I participated, so you can go check those out if you're interested. There were a few days I skipped just because I had other stuff I wanted to work on or I was busy with school. But yeah, so I did most of the days, and I have my stats on my Notion here. I ended up working on 8 different projects for Stitch the Summer Olympics, and just from that event, I got almost 3,000 stitches done. I got 2,908 stitches done. Actually, I probably got 3,000 exactly because one of my projects isn't in markup, so I don't have a stitch count for that one. So I'm gonna round up and say we got 3,000 stitches done just from Stitch the Summer Olympics, which is awesome. So I thought I'll just kind of go through each day, show you the projects and like which prompts I used them for. So the first one was actually a Stitch the Summer Olympics finish. I was super, super happy to get this one done, and I stitched on it twice. And I used it as my first day as like my 2024 start, and then I also used it on August 2nd as the prompt for stitching something with more than one person, and that is my Hess Christmas sign. And here is how that turned out. I'm super, super happy with it. It looks so cute. I'm excited to frame it, kind of. I don't really want to think about framing it because I'm just not in the mood, but it will be framed eventually and up for the holidays. But it came out super good. I did this on 32 count taupe Lugana, just with DMCs, and this is from an old Alma Lynn booklet called Santas to Please and ABCs. I'll put up a picture for you guys because I didn't bring the book up with me. But one of the patterns is in there is a Santa alphabet, so I just picked out the letters to spell my fiance's last name and put them together. So super duper happy with how this came out. It definitely was challenging at times, just like to want to work on it, but once I picked it up the first day, I was like, you know, I can definitely get this done before the Olympics are done, and I did. So that was super exciting. I don't remember if I finished it during the challenge or if it was a couple days after. Let's see if I have it on here. Oh no, I did. I finished it on August 2nd. So I finished it during the challenge, which was really, really exciting. So that was project number 1. Project number 2 was Birdhouse Garden, and again, I stitched on this one twice for the challenge. I used it as like a summer theme piece, and then I also used it as, let's see, August 1st, my oldest whip. So those were the 2 prompts that I used, and I'll put up a picture of Birdhouse Garden if you're not familiar with it. This is a sunset kit, and my grandma actually started this and then passed the whip to me, and I'm finishing it. Here is where we're at. The top 2/3 are done, and I'm just working on the bottom 3 pages. And it's looking great. I will say I had probably like 120 stitches in this the first day I worked on it, and then realized I stitched them all the wrong direction and had to rip them out. So I would have gotten more progress done, but that was kind of a mood killer. I didn't really feel like working on it anymore after that, because I ripped them out and then had to restitch the same stuff. My grandma is left-handed, so her stitches go the opposite direction, like her crosses go the opposite of mine, and so I have to make a conscious effort to remember that every time I pick this project up. And sometimes I don't remember. And if I had decided, like when I started stitching this, that I was going to stitch it just how I normally do so that you could see the difference between like my grandma's stitching and mine, it would have been different, but I've already stitched all of this the same direction, so I'm not just gonna like randomly have a chunk at the bottom that is going the other way. So, but yeah, I love this. I'm super excited to have it done, but who knows when that will be, because I keep saying, ooh, maybe this time I'll finish it, and then I don't. And now that summer's over, I don't see myself wanting to work on this a ton, so we'll see. It might be put away for a while before I pick it up again, maybe in like February or March. I did get like a really big push to work on it last February when we did Pink February stitching with the girls, so we'll see. We'll see what happens, but it's not in the plans. Okay. Next up, we've got Delft Blooms, and I think I did show this to you guys. Actually, no, I had not started this yet when I last filmed my video. I started this on July 29th, so right after I filmed my video, and then I used it for Stitch the Summer Olympics for the, on July 29th, it was a start that day, I guess, for a project with the Olympic colors in it, so red, green, yellow, blue, or black. That's the other color, right? Yeah. So you just had to pick a project with one of those colors in it. This is the cover photo for Delft Bloom, so obviously it has the color blue. And I worked on this just once for the Olympics challenge, but I have worked on it once or twice since that day. And this is where we are. This is stitched on 32 count Mercedes by Picture This Plus, and it is a gorgeous mottled blue, and I have a whole fat quarter so I can show you guys. And I'm actually stitching Delft Blooms and Delft Beetles on this fat quarter, both by Sprouting Lupine, and I'm going to turn them into a project bag when they're done. But for now, we just have a measly little start. I was actually working on this yesterday, so it's kind of fun to look at and be like, oh, I just did that yesterday. But there we are. So, super excited for this one. Another like slow moving project, but I like it. I've been obsessed with this project for like 2 years, ever since I saw it on Instagram when I started doing the Love Bug sale with Marjorie. Yeah, a year and a half ago, I think. And now I finally started it when she released the second part in the series, and I was like, yep, that was the push I needed to finally get started. Okay, next up we have Let's Make Memories by Imaginating. This one I do have the paper pattern for, so I can show you the cover photo. It is just a camera with a bunch of like backstitch words in the background. The main cross stitch part, ooh, the lighting, the sun just came out, it got super bright. The main cross stitch is this shutter in the middle, so that is what I have been working on first. And I used this for the prompt, something round. So I think it was like the bicycle themed day. So you had to stitch something that had like a round part. So obviously the shutter worked perfectly for that. And this is where we are. I added a couple shutters and then started on the back stitch. It's looking good. This is on a 28 count white opalescent linen. Nothing too fancy. I was struggling to pick a fabric for this project when I was kitting it up because, I don't know, like nothing seemed right. Like it was hard to, like I kind of wanted to do a colored piece, but then I couldn't pick a color that like went with the grays and the shutter, and I didn't really feel like changing the grays and the shutter. So I just went with the white, and I think it's really, really nice. I'm just worried how it'll look hung up in the house that it is going to be in when it's done. That one is a gift, it's not going in my house. Okay, the next project I worked on was March by Crochet A Go Go from her Window in Time series. This was for August 3rd, Rowing Day, which was a piece with a row of something or a border. And so this is March here, the little frog guy in the corner. And I started this back in February. Yeah, February of 2024. Worked on it for one day, never picked it up again. So I've been needing to get working on this because I'm trying to stitch all of the months so that I can hang them up at work on my desk. But I just have not been working on them in the last like 8 months. So on August 3rd, it worked out with the prompt. And I also was driving this day up to Cincinnati to go to Keepsakes. Well, my fiance was driving me up to Keepsakes, so it was a good car project, kinda. I stitched these in hand, so it was okay. Counting wasn't the best, but this is where we're at. Just a measly little start. And most of this is from that day, probably like half the stitches in here. So, there we go. And my cute little dog needle minder. I got this at Keepsakes like a year and a half ago? A year ago? No, a year and a half ago. The first time I went. I always like to have a needle minder, or especially like a heavier one when I'm stitching in hand, on the left side, like where I'm holding the fabric, because I just feel like it gives me a little more of something to hold. And especially on this tiny little piece, like there is not much fabric there, and so my hand kind of cramps a little bit. So I find that having the needle minder on there just kind of helps me feel like I'm holding something. So there's that. Next up, I have the fox, which you guys did see. I started this for Christmas in July this year, and I only worked on this once for Stitchthesummerolympics, but I've been stitching on it a bunch for the rest of August. Really, this and the project I'll show you next were my two focus projects for the month, until I had a new start, which I will be showing you. But yeah, so this is from Cottage Garden Samplings, and it's part of a series. I forget what the series is called. A Year in the Woods. So this is the fox #1. And I am stitching this. What am I stitching this on? That's a great question. I am stitching this on, I didn't write it down. It's a 40 count that I got at StitchCon. And I don't have the tag in here. I want to say this is an Atomic Ranch. Oh man, I did not write it down. I'll have to look and see if I can put it on the video. But it's just like a gorgeous blue modeled 40 count linen, and I got a bunch of progress mainly on the body, and I love how this is turning out. It's so, so cute. I can't wait to hang it up this winter. It's so cute, and the oranges are so pretty. Love the oranges in here. I'm 52% done, so I'm actually this will get finished before the end of the year, mark my words. It's pretty quick stitch, honestly, so far. It's been super fun. Love it. And that's the fox. He's so handsome. Okay. I have a couple more projects. Let's see. So the second to last project for Stitchthesummerolympics was in the library, and this was both my birthday start on August 5th and the project for this challenge. So you haven't seen it yet. I did talk about it at the end of the video last time that I knew I was going to start this. I wanted it to be my StitchCon start this summer, but that just did not work out. And I ended up ordering the Cottage Garden Threads thread pack for a birthday gift for myself. So I had to wait for that to come in, but they came in mid-July. And I just need to like show you these threads. They're so gorgeous. Look at those. Oh, I love them so much. If you've never worked with Cottage Garden Threads and you have the opportunity, would recommend. They are so fun to work with. The like variegation and how the colors blend together is so pretty. They have just been a joy. So I've really enjoyed working with those. But I'll put up a picture of it in the library if you're not familiar with it. This is a pattern by Mojo Stitches, and oh my gosh, I've been loving it. Once I picked it up, I could not put it down. This project is really the reason that I didn't do more stuff for Stitchthesummerolympics, but I just loved working on this too much, so I couldn't stop. I was like, no, I'll just work on this instead. I don't need to work on whatever I was thinking of working on this day. But yeah, so here is how far I got. I'll put it up in just a second. I want to see how. 48%. So literally got half done with it this month. She's stunning. And I'm stitching this on a 40 count weathered stone by Atomic Ranch. And I don't know how it's going to come across on camera, but it's like a white with a super faint green modeling. I will almost guarantee it's not going to come across on camera well at all, but it's there. I promise it's there. But I love how quick this is coming together, and I can't wait for this one to be framed and up on the wall as well. So that is in the library. So many gorgeous colors, and it's really fun like thinking about and planning out the variegation, because some of these threads, like, they have very distinct colors in them, so I get to kind of decide, like, even if this is the strand or this is the thread that's called for in a certain area, like on a book or whatever, I can decide, well, do I want the book to actually be like this gold color, or do I want it to be this dark color? Or, you know, do I want it to have both colors? And kind of pick and choose what parts of the thread that I'm using and kind of get fun with it, stitch in different patterns to, like, whether I do rows or up and down or a diagonal, to make different designs. So that's been really, really fun. It's not fun when you need a brain break, but thankfully I was so excited about it, I was able to stitch half the piece before I got tired of making decisions. So I'm excited. I will come back to this soon, I think, in September. Okay, my last piece that I worked on for Stitchthesummerolympics, arguably one that I was most excited about, was Autumn's Glow. And I stitched on this for the last day, and it was a finish that you wanted to have this year, and I finished it. So I had 2 finishes from Stitchthesummerolympics this year, and this piece is from Just Cross Stitch Magazine, October 2023. Of course, now the sun comes out and there's gonna be a horrible glare. What was I saying? So Just Cross Stitch Magazine, October 2023. I saw it on Instagram last year, and I was instantly like, I have to have that. It needs to be in my house. So I bought the PDF from Annie's catalog and instantly started stitching it up, kitted all the flosses, all like 40. And here we are. I think I started it in March. Sounds right. Oh no, this was my new year, new start. So I started this in January and worked on it on and off and got it done on August 11th. And I actually just framed it this morning. This is just an 8x10 frame from Michaels, and it fits literally perfectly. It's not centered, but it like works well, if that makes sense, like with the composition of it kind of. So I have it like a small border up here, and then there's a lot more room up at the top. Just, it looks so good. I'm so excited about it. This is stitched on a 28 count tea-dyed linen from DMC. That is the color of the linen. I did not tea-dye it myself. That is like the name of it. But I'm just so excited. I need to go figure out where I'm gonna put this in my house. It is fall. I am ready to drink pumpkin coffee. I am ready to wear sweaters. I don't care that it's 90 degrees out. I am ready for fall. So I'm gonna hang this up ASAP now that it's framed. Oh, I was so happy to get that one done. That was one of my goals that I wanted to finish for this year, along with Santa's alphabet. So I'm really happy that both of those are crossed off the list. So I have one other project to show you guys that I worked on since I last talked to you, and this is actually a new start. This is the bonus chart from the 2025 Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along. I did not want to start the Stitch Along early because it's 2025 Stitch Along. Like, I want to be in good spirit, and I'll start it on January 1st and, you know, whatever. But I was itching to stitch something monochromatic and test out my dinky dyes that I got at StitchCon, and I also didn't want to buy another chart, and so it's a bonus like freebie chart that comes with Stitch Along, and so I was like, that's perfect. Kind of gets me excited for the Stitch Along by stitching like a themed or related piece. And so I'll put up a picture of the chart. It's super gorgeous. This is, the model is in the same red that the Stitch Along model is stitched in, I believe. But I decided to stitch mine with my white dinky dyes. Actually, this is not white. It's got a different name. It's Pearl, I think. Yeah, so I'm stitching mine in Pearl dinky dyes on 36 count fiber on a whim, and this color, oh, cobalt fiber on a whim, and this is just a scrap that I got on a D-stash, and it's so pretty. I hope you can see the white stitching okay. It's hard to tell like on the screen of the camera like what you can see and what you can't, but I actually got like 40% through this. I've been stitching on this all week. I have not been able to put it down. It's just so fun. Yeah, I'm 31% through this. So the contrast is really nice in person. Again, I hope you can see it, but I've been kind of stitching it symmetrically. So I worked down the sides of like both the left and the right with these like floral swirly guys. And then I'll get started on like the chandelier-esque situation and the birds. So this was super cute, fun to switch it up, and I didn't have to make any decisions. Like when I'm stitching it, I don't have to make any decisions. I just same color all the time, super easy. The dinky dyes I've mostly liked working with. It's my first experience with silk, so definitely getting used to how much it glides and how it kind of gets fuzzy in the end of my needle, which is not the best. But I ended up having pretty short pieces, I think, and they still kind of fray, and I have a piece that's hanging off my thing, so maybe you can see there how it kind of gets fuzzy at the end. So I tend to work with shorter pieces of this just so that it stays nice and doesn't get too fluffy and gross. But other than that, I really liked it. I think it does slide out of my needle a lot easier than DMC, obviously, or cotton thread, but I like it, would work with it again, and I'm excited to keep kind of playing around with it. So that is that. I think that's all of the projects I've worked on that I want to show. I do have Secret Stitch that I worked on a little bit as well this month, but I can't show that because the girls and I are doing a little smalls exchange for Valentine's Day. We're doing a little Galentine's exchange. So I did start my project, and I'm working on that for my person. It's like Secret Santa-esque, but we are not showing our projects because we don't want to give it away who it's for, and it's going to be a surprise for everybody when we reveal and send them out. So yeah, that is everything I worked on. All of the projects. Feels like a lot. I guess it kind of is. It could have been way more if I had stuck to my Summer Olympic plans, and I got a little caught up in my other projects, which is fine. I like to keep my cross stitch fun. It's a hobby. I'm gonna stitch what I want when I want. Sometimes I like to do the challenges and kind of structure a little bit more, but for the most part, I just like to sit down and see what the vibes are telling me to stitch on, and not worry about it too much. But like I said, my birthday was also this month, at the beginning of August, and I did take a birthday trip to Keepsakes, so I thought I would give you guys a little bit of a haul of what I got while I was up there. It was super fun. Graham drove me up for an afternoon, and we got to see Maddie from Kitty Stitch, who, by the way, just posted her first Flosstube video this weekend, so go check her out if you haven't seen already. I know we've been posting about it on Instagram, and you may already follow her on Instagram because she's had a cross-stitch Instagram for a while, but she finally made her first Flosstube, so we're super excited. Me and all the girls are super excited that she is finally doing that. So go give her a little watch and a like and a subscribe and show her some love. Anyway, so I was able to meet up with her and Elizabeth from Fizzy Lizzie's Stitches. They came down and we did some shopping, caught up, did like 10 stitches. We really did not get much stitching done. But I got a few things while I was there. First thing is this Christmas Blues book from Rosewood Manor. And it's got a bunch of gorgeous beaded and stitched ornaments, like snowflake-esque ornaments. And they're all in like greens and grays and whites and bluish kind of. And it comes with beads. So this was super fun. I don't know what I will or when I'll stitch these. I would like to stitch them this winter, but I need to like go through this book a little more and make some actual plans for which I want to do first. But I love the models of these at Keepsakes. I look at them every time I'm there, so I finally bit the bullet and bought the booklet. Next I got a piece of fabric. No plans for this, but it was just too pretty not to get. So this is a 32 count linen by XJU Designs in the color Chalkboard, and it's actually a purple, and it is gorgeous. I just got a fat quarter. Oh, love her. So again, I don't know what I'm gonna stitch on her, but I'm super excited to put it in my stash and have it for when I finally find something. I've been keeping all this stuff in this bag so that I didn't lose any of it or like forget where I put it. So I'm excited to finally be able to put everything away after like a month. Next up, I got some Petite Treasure braid. I kind of talked about this a little in my last video, but I'm looking for an alternative to my DMC metallic thread that I'm using in my Celtic Noel Lady by Lavender and Lace. And I tried some Krynic. I did accidentally buy Krynic that was too big, so I was gonna buy some more when I went to Keepsakes, but I've heard better things about Petite Treasure braid than I have Krynic, so we're gonna try this. This is the color PB01, and it's just a very yellow gold. And I don't know, I probably won't stitch on Celtic Noel until like November, so it'll be a while before I give an opinion, but yeah, this is going to be the gold in the lady's dress and her sleeves, and that's really it, because I've done the gold around the whole border and on the like collar of her dress, so we'll see how these go. I've heard good things, so I'm not too worried about it. I feel like nothing can be worse than the DMC thread that I already have. Okay, I have two more things. I got some pom-poms by Lady Dot Creates in the color Great Fizz. These are going to go in my little stitching case that I made at Midsummer Stitch, if I ever put them in there. No, now that I filmed this, I think I will finally make a point this weekend to glue these in and finish that box. But I think they'll complement the green and the fabric that I have in there really nicely. And then finally, I got 10 skeins of Gentle Arts Witching Hour. This is a very dark purpley brown. And I got this for my 2025 Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Long Balzaquin Birdies. I'm going to stitch it on a 40 count flax, I think, with this purpley brown thread. I hope the color's coming through. I didn't bring the fabric up here, but it's like a very tan neutral color, and I think it'll look really nice. So I know Witching Hour has changed. mainly because I sent a picture to Megan and she actually showed a piece in her video this week that she stitched witching hour and it looks black. Like she stitched it next to 310 and she couldn't tell the difference. But mine is definitely very purple. Purple notoriously doesn't come across on camera, so I won't be surprised if you can't tell, but I swear it's purple. But yeah, I think this will be really fun. I wanted a brown, like a really dark brown. That was the main thing I went into Keepsakes looking for, was a color for my stitch along, but I couldn't really find one that was dark and rich enough. And then this one was similar, like it was the tone that I wanted. I didn't originally see myself going with purple, but once I was holding it up to the fabric, I was like, no, I think that'll be fun, and it's still neutral enough that I think I can like hang it up and enjoy displaying it. And it's not like some bright, crazy color, because that's just not really my style of decor, even though I am leaning towards more fun charts and colorful charts and things that aren't necessarily like my style to hang up on the wall just because they're fun to stitch. But for this piece and the amount of time and floss that I'm going to be investing in it, I wanted it to be a neutral color that I would like for a long time, even as my tastes change. So I'm very excited to get started on that. Like I said, I won't be starting that till January 1st because it's a 2025 stitch along. I'm not going to start it in 2024, silly. Well, that is all I have to show you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little August recap and update to see what I've been stitching on since I've been gone. I kind of am sad about only posting once a month, but it also has been working out really well for my schedule and my sanity, only having to like get organized and get like cute and sit down and do this once a month. I would love to give more updates like more frequently, but it just, the schedule just says no right now. So anyway, I will see you guys at the end of September for a little September recap. Not sure what September will hold yet. I keep trying to plan and then I keep deciding against planning, and just, we're gonna see what happens. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next Flosstube.